What is up, Gorilla Nation, and welcome back to another Division 2 video. But if you would be so kind to show some love to that like button, also smash that sub button if you happen to be new to the channel, and don't forget to reach up there, trigger that bell, and turn on post notifications, so that way you never miss a live stream or a video that is uploaded. And you're probably wondering why I started this video with me selling items in the vendor. Well, I've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times, the same question repeatedly, asked in the Twitter sphere to essentially all the devs concerning what would happen to their gear. And, a lot of people keep asking the same questions over and over and over, and they've even stated on State of the Game, but yet there are still some misconceptions, or I would say there's other content creators out there that's more or less steered you in one way or the other, and it was just based on pure speculation that caused a little bit of frenzy within the community. But all is well. It's nothing to fret about, my pet. It just happens to the best option and the best way to prepare for Warlords of New York when it comes to your gear is pretty much sell it everything. Pretty much the exact thing that I'm doing as you see on the screen. I'm just going through, I'm saving all the named items and weapons, even as far as perfect talents, but mainly because those pieces are already on viable builds. So when we hit the ground running with Warlords of New York launching, the only useful gear that we're going to actually have is those particular builds. But as soon as you hit level 31, all those level 30 500 pieces are going to be obsolete. Now, you can't put a roll of attribute of a level 30 gear onto a 31 to 40 piece of gear, and vice versa. So there really is no point in hoarding all your pieces. I mean, we have just 8.5 days left that remains till Warlords drop. So it's either get all your funds as much as possible, so that way you can use for recalibration station, stuff you might need to buy along the way, pretty much in the same sense as far as when you first started the game, starting out at level 1, how you progressed your way up through it. Essentially, we're going to be doing the same thing between level 30 on our way to 40 with Warlords of New York. So just make sure you get your crafting material up, all your electronics and ceramics, your all that kind of stuff, and get as much funds as possible, and then deconstruct maybe certain brand sets here and there and gear sets, so that way you have the materials to craft your own later on. But essentially your whole entire stash space and essentially every single stuff in your mailbox or in your inventory backpack is going to be absolutely obsolete and useless. So that's why I'm more or less keeping pieces just for 4 builds in particular, and there are mainly PvE builds, since that is essentially all that Warlords is bringing to us, besides some fancy stuff, new things coming into the Dark Zone. But other than that, it's mainly the Gear 2.0. So it'll be pointless to try to hoard all that when you can, take the time now in order to get your funds up, in order to get all your materials up, so that way if something comes along and you switch out your pieces just as you did when you first started the game, as soon as you got, say you were level 5, and then, you started getting level 5 pieces, if it was something that would, help build up what you currently were running, because everything's kind of like a hit and miss, then you can easily just swap it out. But you don't want to waste all your funds. You just want to use what you can without expending too many funds or too many crafting materials, especially if you're on your way to 40 and plan on being at level 40. So that way when you hit 40, you can have the pieces right at your disposal, so that way you can just run through the recalibration station and start theory crafting on builds. So in order to do that, you can take all the gear that you packed up like a pack rat like I have, and then go in there and sell and get those funds and get those gear items and utilities and all that together, and what you need as far as necessary when it comes to crafting and creating a build later on. But all your pieces that you currently have, just like the ones I have, I'm going through every single one of them, just loading up and then walking right over here, and I'm still taking my time going through them, and just something that I may need to tweak. Like, let's say this particular build I have on here, have another viable option, such as like a bloodsucker option, or and vice versa, things of that nature. And I'm keeping like, some brands, some gear set pieces like True Patriot and Aces, just so, in case I might need to use them on my road to 40. But everything else, other than just a few handful of builds and weapons, I'm getting rid of everything else. I'm holding on to my exotics and all my named, gear as far as weapons and all my exotic gear. But other than that, I'm selling everything. And I'm also hoarding on to exotics, even though I already have one. As you can see, I have stole 3 other pestilence just in the last 2 days. And once they figure out what they're going to do as far as when it comes to level 40 exotics, will we have to refarm them? Everything is up in the air right now. That's why they're not giving a definitive answer whether we're going to have to farm for yet another, level 40 exotic, or they might be a way. That way, just like we did, when we got one that was lower than 500, you level up your crafting bench. As long as you have the exotic parts, then you can craft a higher gear score one, or in this case, a higher level one at level 40. So I'm amassing all my exotic components, hoarding onto them, and everything else I'm just selling. So that way, if I do need to upgrade like exotic to a level 40 from level 30, depending on if that's the route they choose, or having to farm for just one, in general level 40 altogether, I'm going to have both of my bases covered. But yet again, they still haven't more or less given a definitive answer whether we were going to have to refarm for level 40 exotics, or we could just do like we did in the old days and just go craft one with some exotic components and a lower level one in order to get a level 41. Or, they're just not going to do level 40 ones, which is, I don't think the third one is going to be an option because, of course, we're going to level 40 in our gear, so why not our weapons as well? So just keep that in mind. Don't fall into the misconceptions. Don't get all worried and all nimbly-bimbly out there. Everything's going to be alright, but as long as you got, like I said, your funds up, all your crafting materials, electronics, ceramics, all that kind of goody stuff, and just keep a couple viable builds that you can switch in and out depending on the missions that you encounter, starting out with Warlords of New York. But anything other than that, it's like a fire sale. Just sell everything and get those funds and materials up. So, sorry I rambled on, but I wanted to make things crystal clear as far as the best way to prepare, and that is just, materials, and funds. Everything else, just sell and trash and deconstruct. Thank you guys so much. When Warlords drop on March the 3rd, I'll be live streaming it here as soon as it drops. So come hang out, laugh with me or laugh at me. But either way, we're going to have ourselves a good time. And don't forget, there's some key codes of the Warlords of New York I'll be giving away. So if you don't have the funds to purchase it yet, then by Thursday, that drawing will be... that video will be up. I will draw 2 lucky winners to receive codes for Warlords of New York, so make sure you're a sub to the channel. Follow me in the Twitter sphere at RelentlessRG, and then ground and pound that like button and let me know what platform of choice, whether it be Xbox, PS4, or PC. And we'll see you guys later.